Let's get it on now. Select and make your first pick. Let's get it on now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Let's get it on now. Choose and pick the best one. Let's get it on now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's get it on now. Select and make your first pick. Let's get it on now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
What's up, y'all? It's S2K, and I'm gonna need all my beat 'em up fans to stand ready because Marvel is pitching in on this beat 'em up renaissance, and I'm pretty sure a lot of us are genuinely hyped. But before we continue, be sure to hit that like button or subscribe for more content like this. It helps the channel out as well as the algorithm so I can gain more traction. But yeah, just a couple days ago I was watching Nintendo Direct, and overall for me it was decent at best because it wasn't much in it that got me genuinely excited. I mean, they showed off a bit of Metroid Prime 4, which did look interesting, as well as the putt game that's based off the Secret Level episode, in which that episode was taking a spin on Pac-Man, and now the game is like a 2D Metroidvania style side-scrolling hack and slash, which did look pretty fun. And a new Tomodachi Life for all my cozy gamer friends out there. So for the most part, relatively decent announcements there, but nothing was getting me genuinely hyped. That was until we were reaching the tail end of the Direct, and out of nowhere, some cool ass Marvel animation started. And when it did, I was honestly a bit skeptical because you all know when Marvel about to drop a game with lackluster gameplay, they usually go hard for some of those trail animations. But as soon as the animation ended, they started showing off a few seconds of the gameplay, and 10 seconds in, I started banging my debit card on the table disrespectfully, because holy fuck does this game look amazing. Now, it's been a while since we got a Marvel style beat 'em up because the last ones I can remember were of course the famous X-Men arcade game that was actually one of the first few arcade cabinets to do 6-player support, which was big at the time, and the Avengers beat 'em up that dropped on the SNES, and it's kind of crazy because Capcom had released their Punisher beat 'em up in that Marvel Arcade Classics bundle that just released not too long ago. So seeing Dotemu and Tribute team up again to do a Marvel project is like an early Christmas for me, and I just wanted to go over a few things that we see in that trailer, starting with the roster. Now, the roster did seem interesting because usually when it's side-scrolling beat-em-ups, they typically stick to a certain team with a few character cameos. Like if it was the Fantastic Four, they would probably have characters like She-Hulk or Spider-Man, or if it were the Avengers, they'd have a couple X-Men characters and vice versa. But here we get a bit of a mixed bag consisting of Spider-Man, Venom, Wolverine, Storm, Nova, and Quasar. And if you're one of the folks that's seen Quasar and went, who the hell is that? Congratulations, you're not alone. But after doing a little bit of research, we can easily say that they are one of the Marvel's most busted cosmic level characters, and I can't wait to see how that translates into gameplay. Now, in terms of gameplay, I've seen a lot of people making comparisons to Shredder's Revenge, and y'all aren't wrong for doing so because the same teams that develop and publish Shredder's Revenge are also the ones doing this game here, and it shows just from a little bit of gameplay that was shown off. You got screen clearing super attacks, quick snappy movement, fast combos, the works. Now, while I think it might play similar to Shredder's Revenge, it's safe to assume it wouldn't be a direct one-to-one because the more you look at the gameplay, you're seeing shit like air combos and tag assists, which obviously wasn't in Shredder's Revenge. Well, air combos were in, but they were really just exclusive to Usagi because he had nice aerial attacks. But unless you're really fighting certain enemy types or bosses, his playstyle was really for the fashion. But here, you can see we have not only flying enemy types, but flying playable characters, as well as certain characters doing air combos, so I'm pretty sure that simplicity and depth are still going to be very relevant, and I can't help but to think that the thought process behind this is exactly how the fuck do we top Shredder's Revenge? Like, Shredder's Revenge was an all-around great beat-em-up. The mechanics were simple but had a bit of depth to them. The soundtrack was catchy, the sprite animations were great, and the roster was and still is pretty crazy. All of that topped with 6-player co-op, both off and online, as well as adding alternate costumes in the survival mode, which I still see people playing to this day. And not to mention the devs bringing most of the 87 cast on board to reprise their roles. So you make a game that grand, of that scale, the only question you have is, where do we go from here? And from the looks of it, they're basically upgrading everything Shredder's Revenge had already established. So seeing how well they managed to put Shredder's Revenge together over the course of 3 years, it's safe to assume that this game will get that same treatment on release. And to further support this assumption is the fact that we've only seen roughly half the playable cast. That's right, half the playable cast. Because according to a post from PlayStation Canada, there are a total of 15 playable characters. So not only is 2XKO getting dunked on, but that's more than 11 characters than Shredder's Revenge ended up with, and that's including the DLC. Now with that said, I'm not sure if all 15 will be playable right off rip, only because seeing how they handled Casey in Shredder's Revenge, the remaining characters might have to be unlocked, which is something I'm completely fine with. It makes completing the game in its other modes more engaging, especially since I'm sure the combat will be addictive as well. Now I'm not going to even attempt to theorize exactly who will be playable because Marvel has a fuck ton of characters, so there ain't no telling for real. But I will assume that the characters will fall in line with what we have so far. For example, we got Cap as an Avengers representative, so we could probably get another Avenger. We got Spider-Man as a street level representative, so we could probably get one of the Defenders. We got Wolverine and Storm, so we can get another X-Men, so on and so forth. Now we don't have a specific release date for this game, but it is set to release around holiday 2025, and I'm pretty sure, just like how they did with Shredder's Revenge, up until that game's release, they will be releasing more trailers featuring characters, costumes, and all the other cool shit. But with that said, I'm gonna wrap up this video, y'all. Be sure y'all like and subscribe and comment who are you excited to see in this game. Personally, I'd like to see somebody like Luke Cage or Iron Fist because I already know their movesets could go crazy and then beat them up. But yeah, that'll about do it for me. Y'all be well, be smooth, don't do drugs, stay in school. This is S2K signing out.